Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. I am Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a man who is in the same bracket as Cristiano Ronaldo. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. To clarify, you're referring to age, yes? Not
Yep.
like playing ability or haircut ability? Okay, cool.
None of those things. Yeah, so Cristiano...
Racing a Bugatti ability, I definitely lose
I
that
mean,
one.
you've never had the chance, right?
That is true. That is true.
So we're going to review Real Madrid's 3-0 win over Atletico in the Champions League semi-final first leg with another Cristiano Ronaldo hat-trick.
I have to ask, is this a Schrodinger's cat thing? Where, like, I don't know if I'm slower than a Bugatti until I've run against one, but for now, I might be faster.
That cat is dead.
Perfect. That cat is very dead.
It was mentioned during the Fox broadcast several times that the 32-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo has scored another hat-trick in the Champions League. We'll get to analysing the game in a bit, but it did bring up a conversation in studio about how you and Cristiano are, the same age. And I was just saying that you're a good soccer player, right? I play soccer with you. I'm very happy to play soccer with you.
Yep.
You got some dribbling skills, but he's doing
Stop
better.
trying to make me feel better.
He's doing better than you.
He's
doing better than you. And it raised a conversation in studio of who is also 32.
Well, the question was, is he older or younger than me? And he is younger than I am, which was... So then it went from there to, like, who else is older or younger than me? And I have a list here, Daryl Grove.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you some. All you have to do is say older or younger.
Older or younger than you?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, some of these are easier than others, but we'll see. Giuseppe Rossi, for example.
Ooh, I'm going to say older.
Younger. He was born in 1987, February of 1987.
You've played the same number of games for the US men's national team. So...
This is very true. This is very true. Darren Bent.
Darren Bent, he's got to be older.
He is older.
Yeah.
He was born not that much older. He was like 6 months ahead of me.
All right.
What about Adriano? That Adriano, the Brazilian Adriano.
Formerly of Inter?
Yes.
Are we going by poundage? Or I'm going to say he's older.
He is. So I was wondering if I could trick you with that one. 2 years older than I am.
I'd say you've played more games than him, though.
Maybe. At least recently, for sure. All right, a tougher one. Javier Mascherano.
Javier Mascherano. So he's one that came into my mind as like similar age to you. I'm going to say he's younger than you.
He is older than me by 2 months, and I'm taking it.
He's doing fine, though.
All right, final one for you. I do have a couple more, but the final one I'm going to go with Philippe Senderas.
Ooh.
Man,
that's a blast from the past. I feel like
Yes,
he's
it
been
is.
around a good old while. So I'm going to say older.
Younger. He was born in
way.
February 1985. He
He must have been
is 5 or
very-
6 months younger than me.
He must have been very young when he was playing for Arsenal, then.
Yeah, he must have been.
Okay.
Yes, he must have been. Let's put it that way.
Other people in your age group I know, because I did a quick look up. LeBron James, doing better than you.
Slightly.
Mark Zuckerberg, better at social media than you.
Yep.
And you're pretty prolific on social media.
That is true. Scarlett Johansson, better at being the Black Widow than me.
Yeah. I mean, again...
When I wore the outfit, I didn't fill it out quite as well. Yeah.
Schrodinger's Black Widow.
Yeah. And then there was other footballers would be Branislav Ivanovic is slightly older than I am.
I think him is older.
Carlos Tevez is, I think, the same age as me. Not
No,
the same
Tevez
day.
is 33, I think.
Yeah, he's older. Hooray. All right, cool. Pablo Zabaleta is younger than me, as is Thiago Silva, but that's only by a month.
Well, wonderful as you are, Taylor, shall we get to the man of the hour?
I suppose so. You don't want to just keep listing birthdays?
No,
All right,
I
fine.
do not. Cristiano Ronaldo scored the hat-trick against Atletico Madrid. It was Real Madrid 3-0. I'm going to call it, this game is over.
Yeah.
Time of death, 4:40 p.m. US Eastern Time.
We've already had the conversation about whether or not we should really pay attention to the second leg.
Well,
I think the answer is probably not.
Didn't we have the same conversation after the Barcelona-PSG first leg?
Yes, but
And what we
also
did do-
after the Barcelona-Juventus first leg.
We set
too.
the DVR.
Yes,
So
yes.
we'll do the same again.
We will. Mm-hmm. But
Should we talk about how this happened then? Because I really expected a really tight, close game. And I thought maybe Real Madrid would come away with like a 1-0 win, or Atletico would scrap out a 1-1 draw, and it would set up this really interesting second leg at the Calderón.
Yep.
Not to be.
Because
Real Madrid scored, less than 10 minutes into this game?
10 minutes exactly, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the 10th minute, so yes, less than 10 minutes.
Okay. So I guess we'll start with, how did this happen, right? Why didn't Atletico's plan that is normally so effective in shutting opposition teams down, why did this not work today?
I think there are a number of different reasons, but the number one I'm going to go with, strangely enough, is Isco, who did start. So in my preview, I thought it would maybe be James based on the players who started most recently. It was Isco and it was Varane starting instead of Nacho.
This is in place of Gareth Bale, who would have started probably on the right, right? Because he was injured,
But I think Isco, because he didn't... Real Madrid theoretically played a 4-3-3, but I think it was more like a 4-3-2 and then whatever Isco wanted to do.
Yeah.
So he roamed around a lot, and I think that caused a lot of problems for Atletico because they never knew when to step. They never felt like it seemed like they were really comfortable with who they were marking. And because they were trying to do that kind of lateral press where they squeeze and don't let you have much possession, Madrid, when they would switch, and they could pretty regularly, because Isco would overload and bring people with him, they had an entire side of the field to play. And it felt like Atletico were continuously thinking they were doing the right thing and then suddenly being exploited and having to close down 40 yards.
Because he's the wild card, right? Yep. I've got to say, this is... We'll talk about Ronaldo, obviously. This is the game where I learned to love Isco.
Oh, yeah?
I thought before... He's like great in terms of he's got like a few little tricks and flicks, and he often turns up on the front page of Reddit for doing a bit of skill. But if you watch the video on Reddit all the way to the end, normally his final ball does not deliver. He'll often lose the ball after doing something incredible in terms of skill, right? But watching this game, I saw his movement. I saw his quick passing. So when he's not doing all the step overs, he just plays 1 and 2 touch, keeps the ball moving and pops up in bits of space. And I really think that's what killed Atletico today.
I like to think that Zidane just said to him before the game, like, you're going to start. Hooray! You can only take 3 touches at a time. Oh. Okay.
No, I'll
see what I can do.
I imagine he told him there's a new UEFA rule, and it's for semi-finals. It's 3 touch max, just like we did in practice.
But it worked because you had those sequences, and I think that was the key part when I talked about Madrid being able to play out of that Atletico pressure. It was that they were very quick on the ball.
Yeah.
They were happy to do that 1 and 2 touch passing and move the ball quickly. And
that's
really
a
pull Atletico apart.
Modric and Kroos thing, right? Those guys are just incredible at doing that.
You can see that in the
Casemiro,
passes.
not so much, but good enough.
Still, I mean, good enough in the sense that I think his stats were like, this is off the top of my head, I think it was like 55 of 63 or something
Casemiro.
like that, or 55 of 64. Even so, he's missing, and he was like the 8th best passer for Madrid.
Yeah.
So that's 9 passes missed.
Wasn't Kroos over 100?
100 of 104.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
But I think that is because that ball was moving so quickly, and it was really frustrating Atletico, and you could see that in Koke kind of encouraging his other players to step with him and try to shut some options. I think you could see that in the fact that Diego Simeone made all 3 of his substitutions inside of 65, 66 minutes. Clearly things weren't working and he was trying to adjust. But really whatever they did, it didn't work because Madrid were just that much better.
And if you're looking for evidence of what we just said, the one that comes to my mind is the Carvajal. He plays the 1-2 with Isco, gets the shot low at Oblak. Oblak saves it, and then it goes... I think Benzema knocks it wide afterwards.
I think it's deflected wide afterwards. But it looked like it was going to be a goal.
It's a memorable moment in the first few minutes, right? And you watch Isco. If you get a chance, watch Isco in that play. And he just sneaks behind Gabi, deliberately goes behind his back. He's a sneaky man. You wouldn't want to trust him. to find himself that space to play the 1-2 with Carvajal. We think that was the key to the game.
Yeah, I mean, because first of all, it's just a really intelligent run, as you said, because I do think your natural inclination is when the ball is on that far touchline, your inclination as a player, if you're on that same team, is to run in front of the defender and kind of be a passing option.
Yep.
And Isco has the faith in Carvajal to continue that run, runs in behind Gabi, who does that quick little check, but then realizes, oh wait, no one is stepping to Carvajal. I guess I better go. That now leaves Isco in space, and eventually he can pull another defender out, or he can get the ball.
And if Gabi had a wallet, it would have been missing by the time Isco had gone past it.
Yeah. And so, but I think it was just that sort of confidence in position from Madrid that was like completely the opposite for Atletico, where it felt like just continuously people were pulled out of position. You had Antoine Griezmann routinely dropping all the way back to try to link up and start something.
Yeah, or to try to make up the numbers in midfield. I think, to try and stop that one-touch Real Madrid pass. Yeah,
and it just really wasn't working. And I think I might be lazy, but again, to say it, I think a big part of it is just that Real Madrid are that good. They have that many really good players that they can routinely play 1 and 2 touch soccer and not really be that troubled.
So I kind of laughed at Brad Friedel during the broadcast when he said the difference is Real Madrid just have so many world-class players that it's hard for Atletico to handle. And I kind of just thought, Brad Friedel, come on, you know better than that. That's lazy analysis. And then we did like this long talk about what happened and essentially came to the same conclusion. So my apologies to Mr. Friedel, because it really did come down to Madrid had the quality to move the ball quickly.
I appreciate that you always want to stay in Brad Friedel's good graces, but I believe the question he was asked that led to that was, what can Atletico do to get back into this game? And I think his answer was, it's always going to be tough because Madrid have so many good players. So maybe you're right a little bit with that criticism, but by the same token, I think Friedel did a good job.
And it also really, I agree, it also really started to fall apart with that first goal, the Ronaldo header. And we had a good long look at this, and we found something...
It's ridiculous.
I'm going to call it puzzling.
Yes.
That Atletico Madrid were doing. And it's the reason for this goal. It's absolutely the reason for this goal.
So I think inside the first 20 minutes... Real had at least 4 corners.
400?
Yeah. And on every single
like it, right?
And on every single corner, Atletico brought every single player into the box. They had all 11 players inside their own 18.
That's not a figure of speech, right? This is when Ron Swanson orders all the bacon. He means all the bacon.
And eggs.
And eggs.
Yes.
But Atletico had all the players in their box.
Which I guess you could say is maybe like it's attention to, we don't want to concede anything on set pieces. Let's get everybody back. Let's get everybody marked. Well, then we'll have that kind of hybrid zone. We'll be able to clear the ball. The problem is there, number one, Madrid were still winning the headers, and I think that's because they can even after the first goal goes in, when they get another corner, and it's the one that Varane flicks on that Oblak just barely gets a finger to.
Save,
That one, they have 4 players in the box. Atletico have 11, and Madrid still win that header because they've got the size difference.
Can you explain the term hybrid zone? Because there may be people listening who are like, Taylor, you nerd, what are you talking about?
Sure. Well, it's a thing that's always difficult because when we watch teams defend on set pieces, we try to figure out if they're playing man-to-man, so they're just everybody takes a player. If you don't have a player, then you step out and try to find somebody. Or zone, which is, you're defending your specific part of the field or of the box. In this situation, it seemed like Atletico were doing a man setup where they would mark the men who were in the box, and then anybody that was free were then in a zone where then they were like patrolling their area.
But they were mostly, it seemed, on the 6-yard box, more or less, right? So then they could kind of attack the ball from the zone and also theoretically mark up every man. But that means everybody's in the box, nobody's upfield. And so even if you clear it, if you clear the ball, you're Atletico, there's nobody up there to receive it except for Real Madrid players. Marcelo, Carvajal, Casemiro, these guys are going to collect it, Modric, and they're going to send it straight back to you. So you're just accepting that Real Madrid are going to get 3 chances to cross the ball.
Well, I think that the other issue, though, is that because, as you said, you have all those guys on the 6, it's not even if you clear it. Because I think one time they were able to clear it, and that's the one that led to the goal. And that's when Carvajal gets it 40 yards from goal. But routinely, it was Marcelo and Modric when it would be cleared, quote-unquote. It's because you've got a corner coming in, you're really, really fighting just to get ahead to it, just to make sure the other team doesn't get anything on frame, and that leads to partial clearances that go 20 yards away. And if you've got 2 players set up at the top of the box to receive that ball and collect it, you're never really going to be out of pressure, because as soon as you do partially head that clear, it goes 30 yards, Modric collects, he plays it right back in, and suddenly you've got to figure out what you're doing.
And this is what happened with Real's goal, right? The first corner comes in, it's cleared. Second cross comes in, I believe, from Ramos, and Savic does get ahead to it, but not a good head. He heads it kind of like across the penalty area to, I believe, Casemiro on the other side. Then he can bounce it back in, doing that weird bounce pass that he does.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to do that, but sure.
And then Ronaldo's there to beat Savic the second time and score the header.
But that comes from, as I said, that comes from the best case scenario, which is they were able to clear it. And, but in this situation, Carvajal calls off Modric. Modric pulls wide a little bit. Carvajal collects it. Atletico are now trying to aggressively step, and because they're all focusing on getting out, they're not focusing on picking people up, and that's why Carvajal can spot Ramos. I mean, Sergio Ramos is wide open. Like, that doesn't happen 20 yards from goal, but in this situation it did, and he's able to play that ball in, and eventually it leads to the goal.
And that was after 10 minutes. So the only chance I remember Atletico having was also in the first half. And the game could have turned if they got this, because the thing Atletico did when they got forward, they would try to slip Griezmann or, more likely, Kevin Gamero in on goal. One time it did happen. Koke reacted quickly, played almost a first-time ball, I'm pretty sure, for Gamero to run onto. Couldn't get himself around Keylor Navas.
No, who did a really good job, because looked like it was either going to be beating Navas and getting a shot on frame or a penalty. We've seen that so many times. But in this situation, Navas does really, really well to get down, but also not make contact and instead just swat that ball away.
It was a hand tackle. Keylor Navas with a hand tackle, a clean hand tackle on Gamero.
But even that, because we went back and watched that to figure out, like, okay, what did Atletico? It's fine. But what did Atletico do here, right? Like, we were trying to figure out, how did they build up? How did they create this chance? Because then maybe Madrid changed what they were doing, and that's why they weren't able to get anything again.
Did they find a way through the Casemiro, Modric, Kroos, like 3-man central midfield?
And in the end, the way they got it was Karim Benzema, who came back to do defensive work, and he had a poke tackle.
He poked it too hard,
and he poked it to Koke, and then Koke turned and played that ball. And
so Atletico's only counter-attack was started by a Karim Benzema through ball.
Yeah, and that's where I want to add, though, that, like, I think the Fox studio guys did a good job of pointing this out, that I think another key to this game was that you did have Ronaldo and Benzema and those kind of Galactico players doing that dirty work. They were doing that hard work. It was Karim Benzema sprinting 20, 30 yards to put in that tackle. We had Ronaldo playing as like an actual left midfielder for stretches of this game.
Yeah, he was like centre forward with Benzema, and then he would like cover that left wing, right, and block that off.
You had Isco doing everything you asked of him. You had Luka Modric drifting wide to almost be a right midfielder at times. And so it really was Real kind of executing the roles that they needed to, or like doing what they needed to do, basically, which sometimes they don't, because you have Ronaldo kind of staying forward a little bit, and then you have people who have to compensate for that. In this game, I think Real played about as perfect of a game as they could.
Yeah, I can't think of anything they could have done better, right?
Yeah,
Ronaldo hat-trick, 3-0 win.
I mean, Asensio could have gotten a goal or an assist, so my prediction would have come. Yeah.
But it was still only 1-0 until like the 73rd minute or so, right? When Ronaldo gets his second goal.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that goal? Because that may be my favourite, because we talked about Benzema's role. I think you really saw Benzema shine in this moment.
You did. But I want to add, though, before we even get to that you're right that it wasn't until the 73rd that second goal happened. But that's because in those first 10 minutes, it's very intense. Both teams are really going for it, putting in those challenges. It seems like it's going to be kind of a high-energy affair. As soon as that goal happens, Madrid can relax a little bit, and now they can start to frustrate Atletico.
One of the Madrids can relax.
Yeah, excuse me. Real
One of them
relax.
started panicking.
And then Atletico have to be more and more aggressive. They have to make more changes. And so it sort of is Madrid, even if they're not like scoring goals and creating that many other chances, it's still them being like, yeah, we're fine to go. Real are not panicking. And then when they have the opportunities like they do in the 73rd minute, they take them.
Yep. Okay, so it's Marcelo on the left. I believe this is Savic gets pulled out to the right, gets pulled out from centre-back, and just gives Karim Benzema enough space to receive the ball.
Yeah.
Marcelo spots it really fast because it's peak Marcelo. 2017 is peak Marcelo time. Maybe, can he ride this wave to the World Cup 2018 and we see like peak Marcelo at the World Cup? It's possible, right?
I don't see why not.
So he finds Benzema. Savic can't step in time. But then the best part of this for me, for Benzema, who doesn't get enough credit, I feel like, outmuscles Diego Godin.
Yeah.
That is an accomplishment.
Yep.
Right? That should be he should get the man of the match ball for that.
Yeah.
Take it off Ronaldo.
And just to clarify, when you say, because it can be a little confusing when we're saying like he pulls Savic out and then he outmuscles Godin. It's because Savic is trying to drift wide a little bit because you have Asensio and I forget who the other Madrid player, player who's come wide. But essentially he's trying to make sure that area is covered. And because he's opened up a little bit, now it's a 1v1 situation between Benzema and Godin. So then he tries to make a play to intercept the ball. But because he's been pulled out, he can't then step and win that ball. That's why it goes to the feet of Benzema, who then gets into that tussle with Godin. And it is kind of like he backs him up with the butt and then kind of turns with his hand and turns with his forearm. No, I didn't see an elbow in there. It didn't look bad.
He's just stronger than him.
Yeah,
he just backs into him and he's stronger. Godin got reversed over.
Yeah, basically. And then he plays Ronaldo. It's kind of a bobbled ball.
There was a beep. No.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. But see, the thing is, I'm not sure it was like a clean pass because it's still bobbled up in the air that Ronaldo has to kind of take it off his chest and then volley it. But it's
Have we ever seen someone get reversed over? It's never clean.
Yeah, true. But I'm just saying it's not as though he like knocked him off the ball and then calmly slid the ball across. It's still a little bit contested in the middle, put it that way. Yeah. So, but again, that I think points to it's going to be Ronaldo getting the headlines, and rightfully so. Anytime you get a hat trick in back-to-back games, that's what's going to happen. Back-to-back Champions League games.
He leads your age bracket.
But it is Benzema doing the work like that.
Yes.
That sets up Ronaldo to do the work that he does.
Yeah, so Ronaldo smash, wonderful, top corner, like well done Ronaldo. Interesting that he doesn't look at the goal, he looks at the ball.
Yep.
Like I would take that as a criticism normally of a player that they don't look up. But I think the theory, at least in studio at the time, was if you just know where the goal is and you're that experienced and that talented and that comfortable and familiar, maybe you don't have to look at the goal because you just know how you have to hit it.
I think that's
is that lazy analysis?
No, I think that's probably the truth. That if the goalkeeper has had to react to a ball from the left-hand side or the opposition left-hand side, your right-hand side, all of a sudden the ball's in the middle, now you're having to slide across to the left, you're going to kind of know as a forward, okay, he's maybe overcommitting, maybe his momentum is taking him this way, I need to focus on getting this ball under control, getting this shot away. So I think it's more logical there. The third goal, however, which is the really great counterattack from Real, break down the side, the ball goes, I think, for Casemiro, who lets it run on to Ronaldo, who I'm guessing screamed at Casemiro to let it run through. That time he doesn't pick his head up at all and essentially just passes it into the goal because Oblak dove early. Yeah. If Oblak stays on his feet, I think that ball gets saved.
Does Ronaldo know? It's tempting to just believe that he knows because he's the man with 2 back-to-back hat-tricks, so tie goes to the goal scorer.
Well, I think tie goes to Ronaldo. And that is the key difference, right? Because if that were I don't know, if that were Wayne Rooney, I would be like, oh, no, he's just kind of lost it a little bit. He's not really as sharp as he used to be, so he's just trying to turn a shot on goal. But with Ronaldo, I'm more inclined to be like, yeah, he knows what's happening because Ronaldo has kind of earned that credit.
I also fully believe that Ronaldo just knows every inch of the Bernabeu. He knows...
That is probably...
There's a thing of knowing where the goals
true.
are, right, in your home stadium when you've scored. I actually don't know the number, but it's a lot. I'm sure he scored many, many goals at the Santiago Bernabeu.
I mean... yeah, I think that was his... I think John Strong was kind enough to inform us that was his 42nd hat trick for Madrid. So, yeah, he scored some goals.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
I think the other one I saw when he scored that first goal, I think it was the first goal, that Ronaldo has now scored like 101 Champions League goals. And all of us...
That's 103 now, right?
Yeah, and all of Atleti combined have scored 100. Oh, so,
well...
yeah.
He's been doing it longer.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so 3-0 Real Madrid. We probably won't cover the second leg unless something very dramatic happens. Tomorrow, it's Monaco against Juventus. If you're looking for a preview of that game, our Monday show has a decent little preview about what to expect. Really exciting game. I think it's the game we're more excited for.
Yeah.
It is now, so. I guess, because it's the only one left this week. Yep. So we'll be back tomorrow to review that game. We've got some great scouting reports to come later on today's show. But first, Taylor, today's sponsor is... Blue Apron.
That's right. Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country.
Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone, even people like me, Taylor.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means even I can cook with Blue Apron.
See, that surprises me because I fancy you're the wine drinker of the two of us. I feel like you're the more sophisticated palate, so I feel like you would do more of the cooking.
I don't have a great palate. I mean, I do cook at home, but I stick to what you know. Yeah. Stick to sports kind of thing. Right?
And that's why we've talked about this before. Why Blue Apron is great because it introduces you to different things, and for me, that's really especially helpful because my wife and I are trying to be. She is doing a very good job of being vegetarian. I am trying to be more vegetarian. I'll put it that way.
So how's Blue Apron going to help you?
Because this is the first time I have another Blue Apron box coming. It is a vegetarian box.
Oh, so yeah, you can set the two up.
Yeah, so it kind of gets you familiar with different ingredients you wouldn't otherwise use and different, I would say, proteins as well and substitutions that you wouldn't maybe think of to use.
So things you'll be missing out on and the upcoming menus include...
Oh, I'm jealous.
Beef teriyaki stir fry with sugar snap peas and lime rice. I think you'll be good with the baked spinach and egg flatbread with sautéed asparagus and lemon aioli, and the 3 cheese and baby broccoli stromboli with tomato and oregano dipping sauce.
That would be oregano. Thank you very much. But yeah, sure. Oh, so I said I have a box coming. What's been your most recent experience with the Blue Apron?
So I recently made a Moroccan stew. Ooh. It had the local Moroccan name. Can't remember what it was, but it was parentheses Moroccan stew.
Okay.
Really nice and spicy, which I made for my wife after her return home from a week away. So I kind of surprised her after she came back.
Did you tell her it was Blue Apron, or did you act like you had gathered all these ingredients together special?
She can tell. The box,
the giant box,
the big box that it comes in was sitting on the side. Yeah.
You didn't just cross it out with a Sharpie and write groceries and hope that she would notice? I think that would have gotten away with it. You would have been fine.
And if you're not familiar, the reason we say this is so easy is you get sort of all the ingredients and the exact size that you need, right? And you get the recipe card that tells you step by step how to make something complicated like a Moroccan stew, even if you didn't know how to do that beforehand.
Best of all, you can get your first 3 meals free. You can check out this week's menu, get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/TSS.
You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait.
That's blueapron.com/TSS. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
A better way to find out about promising young players is the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network. So let's...
promising young ingredients, if it's Blue Apron, promising young players is the Scouting Network.
There we go.
That's how it works.
So let's see what reports have come in this week, Taylor, about the future of soccer.
Spoiler alert. It's kind of a downer for the Scouting Network. Yeah. I mean, all very interesting reports. It's just sort of like, it's not everybody setting the world alight. Put it that way.
Well, there's one young American we're going to talk about, so that's not good news for him?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So if you're unfamiliar, this is one of the ways that Taylor and I make the Total Soccer Show happen is the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network, where listeners donate to the show, and when you do, we assign you promising young player to scout. You get your binoculars, you get a good look at him, you tell us what's going on with that player, and then we keep track this way.
Now, what if they're watching on a television?
And then the TV just looks real big. Yeah, stand far away and use binoculars.
Okay. Didn't realize that was a requirement. Not sure that's going to help us get more people to join, but sure. First report, Daryl Grove, you want to read that one?
I will. It comes from Kate Buchenik. She's scouting Timothy Fosu-Mensah, the 19-year-old Dutch defensive midfielder for Manchester United.
Or outside back or centre back, depending on how many injuries there are.
Yeah, right. Utility player, right? Yeah. Kate says, Fosu-Mensah played in the dying minutes of the Manchester derby, but almost immediately picked up a shoulder injury. She says that in a move that's either very nice or extremely snarky, Vincent Kompany sent a signed shirt to TFM to apologise for causing the injury. I'm saying very nice, because Vincent Kompany is a very nice man.
Except that that is probably...
And Vincent Kompany knows what it's like to suffer an injury. He's done that 100 times over.
This is true. So I would say it's not snarky, but it is it does show you what Vincent Kompany thinks of Timothy Fosu-Mensah. That it's not as though... Yeah, it's not as though if he injured Paul Pogba, he's going to be like, hey, here's my shirt. You're welcome. It would be... I think that's something you do with a youngster who's maybe only made a few appearances versus a veteran.
Fair enough.
Yeah, which is, I guess, exactly what Timothy Fosu-Mensah is.
Yeah.
Next report comes from Brian Wolf, scouting, as Daryl already alluded to. Gideon Zelalem.
We haven't heard about him for a while.
Well, and with reason, apparently. 20-year-old American midfielder for VVV Venlo, on loan from... Was that too many V's?
Yeah, it's VVV Venlo, or VVV if you're trying to be... If you're not into the whole brevity thing, it's VVV Venlo.
There you go. On loan from Arsenal. Zelalem has left VVV to join the US U20's training camp in advance of the U20 World Cup, which starts in roughly 3 weeks' time. Brian says he views this as a positive move for Zelalem since he was getting limited time with that Dutch club. I think I disagree with him.
I actually, reading that sentence, I agree, but the since is a very big qualifier because it would be positive if Zelalem was indispensable to a second-tier Dutch side. Because as we learned, it's not a great standard of football down in the Eerste Divisie. So the fact that they were willing, they didn't fight to keep him because they needed him for the first team is bad news for the way Gideon's career is going. How about that?
And it's exacerbated, I would say, by the fact that he's on loan. So it's not as though this is he's there permanently and they're like, oh, you'll be back next season, you'll get a full season, we'll get the preseason, it'll be fine. This is sort of like, you can go. It's okay. We'll make do without you.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think then the other kind of bummer that you pointed out is that he's going to prepare for the U20 World Cup. This will be his second U20 World Cup since he played previously.
He played in the 2015 U20 World Cup, which was, that team of Miazga and Carter Vickers, and it was an exciting team, but I feel like you should really only have one of those tournaments and then your career moves on, right? If you're one of the younger guys playing that tournament, then that means you're ahead of the curve. Yeah. That means the next time the next one comes around, you should already be, for example, playing first-team football somewhere.
Now, let's wait and see if CCV also gets called into that team.
Yeah, I mean, no, but the same thing, right? Has his career advanced?
It's tough to say. I don't know because
is the Carling Cup that exciting?
I mean, being close to the Spurs first team, I would say is better than being sent away from the Arsenal first team.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So let's hope we get some more happy reports on Zelalem.
And just in case people were wondering, the U20 World Cup is late May, and the US team could very well be worth watching.
There we are.
Up next, Ryan Marzak is scouting Pione Sisto, the 22-year-old Danish winger for Celta Vigo. And Ryan says Sisto didn't play this past weekend as Celta lost 3-0 to Athletic Club de Bilbao. Ryan is hoping that this was an intentional decision so that he gets some rest ahead of this week's Europa League semi-final clash with Manchester United on Thursday. Wait, isn't that your team, Taylor Rockwell?
It is indeed my team, and I'm nervous.
Should we be covering this game? Europa League semi-final? It's starting to feel big, right?
Yeah,
I guess it's not round of 32.
Let's see how tomorrow goes. If tomorrow is another kind of blowout and not that much fun, I don't think it will be. But if it is, then maybe we can look for the Europa League to be a little bit more dramatic. And if you are Ryan Marzak, I would be excited, or if you are Pione Sisto, because if he does start, it's going to be a very makeshift Manchester United team that he's going up against.
So if you're a Manchester United fullback, do not be excited, because Pione Sisto could cause you some trouble.
I think if you're a Manchester United fullback, you might be starting at centre back. So if you're a Manchester United winger, you might be starting at fullback.
Is this the Mourinho thing of we can't go from the bed to the toilet without getting injured?
Yes. Yeah. Because I think Bailly picked up an injury as well, so now I think they're down to one centre back. Fosu-Mensah, as Kate informed us, has gone out with injury. He was another one who's deputising. So it's a little rough right now. It's a little rough.
Oh, okay. What else we got?
We've got Ian Shank scouting Fernando Arce Jr., 20-year-old American midfielder for Dorados de Sinaloa. Arce barely played in the Ascenso MX Clausura this season, logging just 240 minutes in the Mexican second division.
So he's the Zelalem of Mexico?
Yeah. Ian isn't sure what that means for the youngster's career prospects, but it certainly doesn't sound ideal.
Okay. Oh, so he's American as well.
Yep.
Son of Fernando Arce, of course, because he was here. Okay. Final report we have here is from John Adams, not that one.
Yep.
Scouting Cheyenne Harrison, the 19-year-old English forward for Yeovil Town on loan from Tottenham. John says, Shayon continues to struggle to get minutes for Yeovil Town, and it seems like manager Darren Way doesn't trust too many of his players outside of the core 11 or 12.
So basically, he's not making many substitutions during games, so he's leaving lots of people on the bench.
So this is at least making ZLM's loan to VVV look good.
Sort of.
John instead wanted to tell us that it's actually Kieran Trippier, not Kieran Trippier.
Yes, which is interesting.
I guess that's my fault. I think I started that.
We just assumed he was French. Or French pronunciation.
I think we're getting too fancy on TSS. Well, yeah, it makes sense, right? He's English, it would be Trippier.
Yeah, and then exactly, it's how you said it, because I would go like Trippier, and it's like Trippier.
Blame me.
Well, no, but I mean more so that like because he still has the. I don't know if it's London, but he's definitely got the English accent. So it's never going to be like Trippier with that like hard R at the end. It's going to be however you would say it, Mr. Grove.
Okay. Yep. Well, thank you to John for pointing that out. Thank you to Kate. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to Ian as well for the scouting reports on today's show. What's that face for, Taylor?
Because I've just realized, I think what happened is maybe you did pronounce it properly at first, but the way you would say Trippier would end in that like Trippier. So then I would be like, oh, it's Trippier. There he is. And then we just kind of slowly devolved from there.
So then we Frenchified it.
Yeah, so it's both of our faults in the end.
Just a reminder that we were all hoping that would be DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
Let's move on quickly to the new scouts, and thanks to people for choosing to support the show.
Yeah. So as we said at the top of the Scouting Network, when people subscribe to the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network, they are financially supporting the show. It's the reason we can do 5 shows per week. So we want to thank the recent people who have signed up. Recent new scouts include Thomas Bice, Brian McIntyre, Ben Sundstrom, who's scouting Conrad De La Fuente. We had his first report on the last show. Roland Klein, Justin Hansen, and Michael Jordan. I'm assuming it's the Michael Jordan.
I mean, if he subscribed at the $1 million a month level, then yes, I think so.
He did. We can definitely do more shows.
There we go. Okay, cool.
We can definitely do more shows.
We are good to go.
So if you would like to support TSS, you go to totalsoccershow.com/subscribe. All the information is there.
There we are. So as Daryl Grove said, we'll be back tomorrow reviewing the other Champions League semifinal. That would be Monaco v Juventus.
Other things happening this week. We mentioned the Europa League semifinal. There is semifinal? Yeah. There's also the US under-17s start the second group stage, I believe Wednesday early evening, right? 4:30 kickoff.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Against Honduras. So keep an eye on that.
And that's in a group of 3. Honduras have already played one game that was against Cuba. They won that game 7-1.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I want to say in that game, the US-Honduras game, is going to be my current favourite player in the TSS Scouting Network.
Oh, yeah?
Josh Sargent.
Really?
Because of that goal, that goal where he spins it around. He's my current Scouting Network favourite player. I want to make this a thing. I want to have a favourite.
Really?
TSS fave or Daryl fave is Josh Sargent.
And is it going to be a constantly evolving, or is it not even going to be evolving? It's just going to be like, nope, you're out, new guy's in.
Yeah, well, it just depends what people do, right?
Okay.
Like if Pionnier Sisto had dribbled around 7 people and scored this weekend, I'd be. If he dribbles around 7 Man United players and scores, he'll be my new favourite player.
That's fair. Maybe not mine.
Well, we have to agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that in mind, then I'll go with Gabriel Jesus for now. I know I picked him for my Common Bowl team, but the fact that he was. Kind of came into Man City midseason, had such an impact, seemed like completely at home, then missed a bunch of time with injury, came back and scored in his second game back against Middlesbrough, and in a very important one since he got that equalizer.
Yeah, you know what? That's a Scouting Network thing, right? We've seen a lot of players make a move and then sort of not go anywhere after that move, like struggle at the big club. Gabriel Jesus is the poster child for the very most successful version of a move.
Yes. Yeah.
Just come in and be better than Sergio Aguero.
Hey, he's my player.
Everyone
Get out of
just
here.
do that.
Stop talking about my guy.
Josh Sargent could do it too. All right, so Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
I doubt what you just said, but you're welcome, and thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I've got a Bugatti for you to race, so let's go do that. Listeners, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again tomorrow after Monaco Juventus.